Today we are focusing on a 20-minute slow flow and stretch for the hips and the low back. So if you've been feeling any tension in the hips, the glutes, or any slight pain in the low back, this may help a lot with releasing that. And it's going to be just a quick express, so a nice break to your morning, a nice way to start off the morning feeling a little bit more fluid and ready to take on whatever Friday throws at you. So we are going to get started today in a butterfly pose. So you can come to take a seat. Soles of the feet are going to come together to touch, and we'll start here with the legs a little bit further away. So soles of the feet to touch, knees come wide, and you're sitting up nice and tall. So you may immediately begin to notice here any sort of tension in the thighs. You could allow the knees to lift if it's feeling like a really deep stretch. This is where blocks could come in handy underneath the thighs to give you a bit more support here. And if you have more space, you can allow the knees to become heavier and maybe even a gentle press on the thighs to find a little bit more space. All right, ground down into the sits bones, sit up nice and tall through the spine. Hands could just rest on the thighs, shoulders shrug up, back, and down. As you arrive here in this space, let's take a full breath in. Nice, exhale, release. Blink the eyes, close. Allow your energy to arrive here on the mat, signaling to your body that you're here for the next 20 minutes or so. You're allowing yourself to be present. You're allowing your thoughts to stay focused in this moment, noticing how the body feels, noticing the thoughts as they come and go, and allowing yourself to continuously bring that awareness back to the breath, back to how the body is feeling in each of these shapes that we take today. One more full breath in. Full breath out. All right, you're welcome to keep your eyes closed, or you can blink your eyes open. Reach down for the ankles and begin to draw the heels a little closer in towards the hips. All right, soles of the feet are still touching. You'll draw the thumbs to the balls mounds of the feet and then begin to peel the feet open. So the pinky side edge of the feet are touching here, and the big toes are rolling away from each other, like you're peeling open a book. Try to keep the heart long and the knees come wide. Great, full breath in. Stay here, exhale, hinge at the hips any amount. The elbows may rest on the shins and give a gentle press to continue to open here. This may be a pretty deep stretch in the inner thighs. Or maybe you're feeling this more in the glutes and the outer hips. Wherever you're feeling this, breathe into that space. Full breath in. Nice full breath out. Maybe you hinge a little deeper. Great, let's take one more breath. Stay for the exhale. Great, inhale back through center. Release the hands towards the outer thighs. Draw the knees together to touch. Cross the ankles, roll forward, plant the palms. Let's come all the way back to our downward facing dog. Tuck the toes, send the hips up and back. Readjust as needed and just begin to pedal out the knees, dropping one heel, then the other. Feeling a nice stretch to the spine. Heart moves back towards the thighs. And then whenever you're ready, the heels could begin to fall heavy towards the mat. Check in with the head and the neck. Can you release the head down? Head becomes heavy. Great, inhale, gaze forward. Bend the knees, exhale, step one foot then the other behind the wrist for our ragdoll pose. Deep bend to the knees, one of my favorite stretches for the low back. This creates so much space in the back body. The key here is to really keep a nice bend to the knees. So we're not focusing as much on that hamstring length, but we're really focusing on tipping the weight forward and lengthening the spine down. Some extra goodness here could be to interlace the fingers, draw the pinkies towards that occipital ridge, so that little bump in the back of your head, and then elbows
elbows come in by the ears as you allow the spine to lengthen, to decompress in this gentle forward fold. Crown of the head's heavy. Nice. Let's take an inhale here. Stay for the exhale. One more breath in. Exhale, release the fingertips down to the mat. Let's slowly roll all the way up to standing, one vertebra at a time. Arms are heavy, head and neck are last to arrive. Shrug the shoulders up, back and down. Coming to your standing mountain pose, palms face forward. Inhale, sweep both hands high. Exhale, dive forward, arms wide, hinge at the hips. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen the spine. Exhale, step the left toes to the back of the mat and back knee taps down. So it's really common here to, from sitting a lot, from doing other exercises, to be tight in the front of the hips. That can then lead to some low back pain. So our low lunge, or Anjaneyasana, is a really great stretch for beginning to find length in the front of the hip, even down to the quad, and releasing some of that tension. So allow yourself to breathe into this space. You could keep the hands down to the mat or walk the hands to the right thigh. That may deepen the stretch, but allow the hips to be heavy. All right, flood the front of the left hip with your breath. Every exhale, you may find a bit more space. Maybe you're sweeping both hands high. Let's take one more breath in. Become heavy on the exhale. Sweep the hands down to frame the front foot. Step back to your plank pose. Arrive here. Press the mat away. Full body strength. 3, 2, lower all the way down on 1. Elbows straight back. One long line as you lower down. Hands will stay underneath the shoulders. Untuck the toes. Inhale, baby cobra. So again, finding length in the front of the body. Elbows stay in by the low ribs. A lot of times this stretch to the front can release even tension to the back. Exhale, release all the way down. Tuck the toes, either move through hands and knees, or you can press up to plank, and then downward facing dog will arrive back. Inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, step one foot then the other. Top of the mat, toes might touch this time. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rise up, reach through the fingertips. Exhale, right back down, hinge at the hips and fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, right toe step back. Let's find that stretch on the other side. Back knee taps down. Hands could stay framing the front foot. We're really focused on the stretch to the front of the right hip now. The hip flexors, the quad, creating space, breathing into that space. This may be an area of tension and tightness. It's all connected here, right? So low back, hips, it all plays in together. You might walk your hands up to the left thigh. Continue to breathe with every exhale. You're releasing any tension in that right hip and trying to soften into this stretch. If you'd like to reach both hands high, you could do so now. Full breath in. Exhale, become heavy. One more inhale. Exhale, frame the front foot, step back to your plank pose, finding your strength. 3, 2, let's lower all the way down on 1, elbows straight back, untuck the toes, back to our baby cobra, inhale, heart lifts. Let's linger here. Shoulders roll back and down, heart reaches forward, stretching out the front of the body. Come back to your breath, inhale. Nice exhale. One more inhale. Exhale, release all the way down. Tuck the toes, make your way back to your downward facing dog. Great, take a full breath in. Full breath out. Inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, step. If you like to float, you could float forward as well. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rise up, Urdhva. This time lift the left knee up in line with the hip. All right, grounding down into the right foot, strengthening the right side. Draw the hands through heart center, cross the left ankle over the right thigh, and sink the hips back. So our standing figure 4. Like you're sitting back in a chair, hips move back. You're active in the right side, but you're hopefully feeling this nice stretch to the whole left side, the hip, the glutes. If you'd like to go a little deeper, you could drop the arms down to the left shin and find your breath here. So allowing ourselves a couple of breaths to really feel into this stretch. Create space. Come back to your breath. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more breaths. Stay here. You can drop the hands down to the mat if you're finding more space. 1 more inhale. Full exhale. Great. Let's slowly make our way back up. Hands through heart center. Press through the right heel to stand. Left knees in line with the hip. All right, let's take a big step back to our high lunge. Left toes tap back. Sweep both hands high. Up nice and high on the back toes, back heels lifted. Again, focusing on this stretch to the front of the hip. Sweep both hands high. Inhale. Exhale, frame the front foot, tap the back knee down. We're coming right into our pigeon pose on the right side. Wiggle the right toes towards the left side of the mat. Right knee taps down. Wiggle the left toes back. Start with the heart lifted. You can press into the fingertips. This is a great place to stay. Really nice deep stretch into that right hip now. And the front of the left hip. If you'd like to fold forward, we've got 4 more breaths here. Begin to deepen your breath and allow each exhale to soften where you're feeling the stretch the most. So maybe that's in the right hip, the outer hip and the glutes, or it could be in the left if you're tighter in the front of the hips and the quads. Let's take 1 more full breath in. Nice, full breath out. Press back into your palms, lift the chest, tuck the back toes, 3-leg down dog, right leg up and open. Take a couple big circles with the right knee, allowing the blood flow to come back into that right hip. Great, other side, left leg sweeps high. Oh, just kidding, both toes down, inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, step or float top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rise up, sweep both hands high. Now lift the right knee in line with the hips. Single leg Tadasana. Coming into our standing figure 4, cross the right ankle over the left thigh. Hands through heart center as you sink the hips back. So I know in a lot of bodies, mine included, the left hip likes to swing out to the side or the standing leg. Can you bring that in and then try to keep the knee over the ankle? So often my hip comes out, the knee comes in. I see this a lot in class. Our body is trying to take a path of least resistance and take that stretch out of the right hip. But can you draw it back in, back out of the stretch if needed to find that alignment? You could stay here or elbows come to the shin. Keep checking in, left knee over ankle, left hip spirals in. If you'd like to drop the hands down to the mat, do so wherever you land. We've got 2 more breaths. Full breath in. Soften the right hip as you exhale. Create space. Inhale. Exhale. Let's slowly release, hands through heart center. Rise all the way up. Active in the left leg to lift. Take a big step back to our high lunge. Right toes land. Sweep both hands high. Couple breaths here. Opening the front of the right hip now. Front knee over ankle. Back heel super lifted. Arms are engaged. Inhale. Exhale. 1 more breath in. Exhale, frame the front foot. Tap the back knee down. Sitting up for your pigeon pose left side. Wiggle the left toes to the opposite side of the mat. Left knee taps down. Wiggle the right toes back to lengthen that back leg. All right, stay here, lifting in the heart, or you can fold forward, come down onto your forearms, deepening that stretch in the left hip. Notice if you're holding tension in your shoulders, you could release the palms flat, reaching through the fingertips. If you do have those props, a block or bolster could be nice here under the forearms, or even pressing into your hands, blocked underneath you. Another option for the block would be to draw the block underneath the left hip for a bit more support here. Let's take 2 more breaths. Press through the palms. Let's make our way back to our 3-leg down dog. Tuck the back toes, sweep the left leg up and open. Take big circles with the left hip. Both toes tap down. Inhale, glide forward to your plank pose. Slowly lower all the way down to your mat. Do one spine strengthener. Hands sweep back. We'll take Shalabhasana, so palms face down, forehead taps down. As you inhale, lift the heart. So strengthening the back body. You could float the hands off the mat. Maybe float the feet off the mat. Think about length from the toes through the crown of the head. Breathe here. 3, 2, 1. Release all the way down and soften. You could drop one ear to the mat, wiggle the hips side to side. Hands come underneath the shoulders, press up, walk the knees forward. Let's take a seat here. All right, coming into our fire log pose, so a bit deeper stretch for the hips here. Couple of options here. We're working on stacking our shins. So the right ankle will start on the left thigh, left toes forward, and think about stacking the shins. So as you can see here, my outer hips are pretty tight, so my knee is always pretty lifted. Nothing wrong with that. Some of you may have the knee closer to the foot and have a little bit more space in the hips. But if you're like me, that knee can be pretty high. If you have a pillow or something and you'd like extra support, you could fill the space with a pillow or a block. And then allow the breath to begin to open the right hip. Sitting up nice and tall. If this feels like a nice deep stretch, you're welcome to stay here. If you feel like you need a deeper stretch in the hips, you could begin to hinge at the hips and fold forward. I don't really need that extra step, but some of you may. So go to where your body feels the best stretch. And then come back to your breath. Inhale. Nice, exhale. This can be a really deep stretch for most. Let's find the other side. So we're just releasing out of this. You'll have the right leg on bottom now. Cross the left ankle over the right thigh. Flexing the toes back. We're working towards stacking the shins here. So again, no worries if that knee is super lifted. As you can see, mine is here. Hands can be by the sides, lifting the heart nice and tall. Just creating more space in that left outer hip. Nice, full breath in. Full breath out. If you do need to find more space, you could always hinge at the hips and begin to fold forward, which may deepen the stretch for you. 2 more breaths here. Nice, one more full breath in. Full breath out. Let's release out of this shape. Both feet come back down to the mat. Hopefully you're feeling a little bit more space in the hips. That is our 20-minute hips and low back flow. If you'd like a little bit more and you'd like to take a little Shavasana here, I would recommend drawing the soles of the feet to touch and coming down to a Supta Baddha Konasana, Shavasana. That will give you a bit more space here. You can take blocks under the hips to be more supportive, under the outer thighs. And you might come to this resting pose for the next couple of minutes.
before moving forward with your day. You only had these 20 minutes. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you feel a little bit more space in the hips and the low back. If you have any questions at all, of course, feel free to reach out. Always happy to chat. You can DM me. Otherwise, have a happy Friday, and I'll talk to you soon.